We moved into this house not long before my daughter Lily was born. At the time, we had no idea of its dark history or the death that takes place there. We would later learn that a little girl who once lived in this house died at the age of just 3 after she fell out of the truck her daddy was driving. Not long after her death, her mother, who was so very sad, took her life in this home. From the very beginning, there was a sadness and a heaviness in this house. Doors opened and closed on their own. We heard muffled voices and cries from empty rooms. Eventually, we discovered more about the family who lived there in the 50s. The same family who lost that little girl. It was not a happy home, you see. The father was cruel to his wife and to his children. There was never any peace, only pain for that family. We learned that several families had tried to live there before us, none staying longer than a year. We stayed 7. The upstairs always felt the heaviest. That's where my boys had their bedroom. They often told me about the knocking and the banging on the walls at night, and how things in their room would move without it being touched. There was also a strange sealed-off room upstairs. Inside was an old chair, a table, and a calendar still hanging on the wall from the 50s. We only found it by chance while trying to find what was making the noises in the walls. I'll never forget the time my boys were at school and Lily had just went down for a nap. The house was silent until I started hearing someone pacing angrily upstairs. Then came huffing sounds like they were frustrated, followed by a muffled cry and the sound of something hitting the wall. The boys didn't sleep upstairs much longer after that and decided to move their bedroom downstairs. My mom also had an experience in that house. One day while watching Lily, she felt a hand on her shoulder, and then the unmistakable presence of someone standing behind her. Then she heard a soft humming and caught the scent of floral perfume. When Lily got older, she often played alone in her room, talking to someone. We assumed it was her toys. But when we asked her, she said, "No, Mama, it's the lady, the one who visited her at night, her friend. I saw that lady myself several times. Once I found her standing in Lily's nursery, watching her as she slept. She always looked so sad. I also saw some dark figures in that house, and whenever they appeared, a sense of dread came with them." There was one day when I was home alone and heard a child's voice cry out, "Mama, Mama, Mama." I thought my husband and kids had returned home, so I rushed outside, but no one was there. We lived out in the country with no neighbors nearby. I tried to dismiss this, but the voice came again, this time even sadder. I ran outside again, thinking a child must be lost, but there was nothing. No one answered when I called out. When we decided to move out, everything got worse. It was like the spirits didn't want us to leave. Doors slammed more violently, objects moved more frequently, the cries at night grew louder. I felt like the lady of the house was angry that we were taking Lily away from her. The night before we moved, I was jolted awake by a sensation of someone shaking my shoulders. When I opened my eyes, the lady was there, standing at the foot of my bed. Her eyes were hollow and her expression filled with sadness, and the only thing she said was, "Why?" I was so scared I couldn't speak. Maybe if I had, I could have told her it was just time for us to go. But before I could even say a word, she vanished. My only hope is that her and her daughter have now been reunited and have somehow found peace in that home.